Previously on this investigation, we linked Deana Cremins' murder to a covert surveillance operation embedded in Somerville schools. We followed the disappearance of Anthony Palumbo to a Pennsylvania scrapyard, where a black SUV with no plates signaled something more organized, more intentional. We tracked that threat all the way back to one name: Detective Christopher D'Onofrio, a man whose unofficial school security contract might have hidden something far darker than protective detail. And then came the voicemail. No distortion this time, just a flat, almost bored voice. "You want the truth? Then come to where it ended. Mystic River. Dock 4. Midnight. Alone. We went. No cameras. No backup. Just one body cam. Concealed. And here's what happened. Dock 4, at Mystic River, sits behind a gated construction lot. Unused. Decommissioned. Midnight came. No one appeared. But taped to the underside of a corroded post, a sealed manila envelope. Inside, 3 items. A folded photograph, blurred, low light. A girl sitting on a park bench, her face obscured. A white hoodie, jeans, Converse sneakers. At her feet, a red spiral notebook. A photocopy of a missing person report. Filed in Arlington, Massachusetts, April 1996. Name Riley and Shevlin. Age 15. Status missing. Circumstances: last seen walking home from school. Final known location: the 10 Hills Path, same route as Deana Cremins. Riley's case: unsolved, barely publicized. A single cassette tape, labeled only with the date: April 1st, 96. We digitized the tape, and this is what was on it. Female voice trembling. "I told them I wouldn't say anything, but he said they already knew, that I couldn't run, that she tried, and look what happened to her. He said she was supposed to shut up, not die." Then silence. Then a male voice, muffled, close to the mic. Male voice. "That's enough. You want to go missing too." Click. End of tape. We isolated the voices, ran them through software. The female voice has not been matched to any existing witness statements in the Cremins file. But the male voice? We believe it belongs to Daniel Kearns, the same man listed in school maintenance logs under D'Onofrio's private contract. The same man now unreachable. We traced the missing girl, Riley Shevlin. What we found was disturbing. Her name appears nowhere in the official missing persons database. But we confirmed the Arlington PD had opened a case, sealed within 6 weeks. No resolution, no follow-up, no media coverage. Just one internal note: no foul play suspected. Case suspended due to lack of leads. Why would a missing 15-year-old girl, disappeared under near-identical circumstances to Deana Cremins, go completely uninvestigated? Unless someone wanted it buried. We contacted Riley's last known relative, an aunt living in New Hampshire. She agreed to speak off-camera. She told us, Riley said she didn't feel safe. She'd switched her walk home, took a longer route just to avoid a man near the woods. She called him the Watcher, said he was always pretending to fix something, pipes, wiring, but he was always just there. We asked for a photo of Riley. She sent us one. The same girl from the blurry bench photo in the envelope. Same red spiral notebook at her feet. Same uniform of fear, which means someone has been holding on to evidence for almost 30 years. Not turning it in. Not asking for justice. Just waiting. Why? And who? Our last lead was the man in the center of it all. Detective Christopher D'Onofrio. Retired. Living in Rockland, Maine. We drove to the address. A farmhouse. Remote. Snow-dusted. Quiet. He wasn't home. But something unexpected happened. A woman, early 70s, opened the door. She introduced herself as Evelyn D'Onofrio, his sister. She was candid. Tired. And she said this: "You're not the first ones to come asking. Someone else was here 2 weeks ago. Man in a dark coat. Said he was with Records Recovery. But he didn't have ID. Chris left the next day. Said he was going to Nova Scotia. Never came back." We asked her, "What do you think he was hiding?" She didn't flinch. Regret. He used to say, it was supposed to be quiet work. But we saw too much. And then we chose to keep seeing. We left the property, and that night, back at the hotel, we received the final message. Same anonymous email address. No subject. Inside, an image attachment. It's grainy, monochrome, but it's real. A still frame from an old VHS security camera. It shows two girls walking side by side. Nighttime. Timestamp. March 29, 1995. 9:47 p.m. One girl is Deana Cremins. The other, we believe it's Riley Shevlin. Which raises the most haunting question of all. Was Deana's murder not just about silencing her, but silencing what she had uncovered about someone else's abuse? And if Riley knew the truth, did she survive? Or did she vanish because she wouldn't stay silent? We don't know. Not yet. But soon in this part we go to Nova Scotia, where a fishing license issued to Christopher D'Onofrio was activated just 3 weeks ago. We also track down the identity of the anonymous email sender, because a slip in metadata revealed the message came from a server not in Massachusetts, not in Maine, but in Quebec. And it may be someone we've already heard from, someone who was never supposed to speak, someone who may finally be ready to name names. The clock is ticking, because every time we get close, someone disappears. But the truth is still here, buried in old cassette tapes, missing persons files, corrupt contracts, and one girl's final sentence, scribbled into the back of her journal. I wasn't supposed to see it, but I did. And now they're watching me. Stay with us and subscribe to this channel. This case isn't cold. It was frozen. But now, it's thawing. And what's emerging may not just explain Deana's murder. It may uncover a network far darker than any of us imagined. Previously on this investigation, we uncovered a second girl who vanished under near-identical circumstances to Deana Cremins. We identified a disturbing connection between her and a Somerville surveillance operation buried under a school security contract. We followed the trail to Rockland, Maine, where Detective Christopher D'Onofrio had recently vanished, allegedly en route to Nova Scotia. And then we received a photograph, a VHS still frame, two girls walking side by side. One of them, unmistakably, Deana Cremins. The other, Riley Shevlin. Missing since 1996. Now we go north, to a place beyond jurisdiction. A place where people go when they don't want to be found. Nova Scotia, Canada. We arrived in the town of Shelburne. Quiet, coastal, sparse. Local records showed a fishing license issued to Christopher D'Onofrio 3 weeks prior. But it wasn't under his full name. It was under an alias. C. Dane Frett. Still, it matched his photo and age. He'd listed a rented property. Cabin 3, Port Clyde Boathouse Complex. When we got there, it was empty, but not abandoned. Fresh groceries, a working generator, fishing gear still wet from salt water. And in the corner, under a sheet of canvas, a military-style footlocker. Locked. We didn't touch it. We called local authorities. We filed a report. But when they arrived 2 hours later, the cabin had already been entered. No sign of forced entry. But the footlocker? Gone. Someone had been watching us, tracking us, anticipating this visit. What wasn't anticipated? That D'Onofrio left a second trail. Because during our search, our team drone scanned the area behind the cabin. In the underbrush, wedged between rock and root, was an old plastic tackle box, sealed with tape. Inside, a set of keys, an 8mm tape reel labeled D. Cremins / March 29, 95 trail cam. A handwritten note that simply read, "If you found this, you're not one of them." We flew back to Boston that night. The 8mm tape, converted by our archival technician, contains no narration, no voices, but it does contain footage. Black and white. Timestamped March 29, 1995. 9:48 p.m. Deana Cremins. Walking alone. Pausing. Looking behind her. Then, emerging from frame right, a man. Tall. Dark clothing. A cap. He doesn't run. He walks. Deana steps back. Says something. Her hands go up. Then the camera distorts, static. And when the frame clears, they're gone. Just the sound of wind and leaves. The next 14 minutes are silent. Then, another figure enters the frame. This one shorter, stocky, holding what looks like a small duffel. He kneels near where the others stood. He places something down, then walks off calmly in the same direction. We had this man's image enhanced, his face obscured, but the clothing, a uniform, janitorial, with a patch barely visible on the sleeve. Somerville School District. This isn't fiction. This isn't speculation. This is footage the police never had or chose not to disclose. The next morning, we received an encrypted file from the same Quebec server that had previously sent us the trail cam image. Inside, typed letter. No signature. I worked under them. I followed orders. At first, I thought we were protecting the kids, monitoring threats. But then I realized we were the threat. Deana wasn't supposed to see what she saw. And when she did, they turned it into containment. I left in '98. I've been hiding ever since. If you're reading this, then the box was compromised. But the real file, the one with names, contracts, meeting logs, it's still safe. I buried it. And now you have the keys. Those keys, recovered from the tackle box, are marked MMS/6. We matched that code. Mount Misery Storage. Unit 6. A facility in rural Massachusetts. Inactive since 2001. Still standing. Still accessible. We've already filed for a private investigation request and location access. Soon in this part, we enter Mount Misery Storage. We attempt to open Unit 6. And we may be looking at the only remaining hard copy of the full internal report detailing the surveillance program embedded in Somerville's public schools. We believe it will name the man who followed Deana Cremins that night, the officers who covered it up, and the connection to Riley Shevlin, who may not have vanished, but may have been hidden to protect herself. Because if the anonymous source is right, Riley may still be alive, and she may be watching this story unfold. One final detail before we go. The spiral notebook we recovered in Deana's belongings. Its final page. Invisible ink revealed the phrase. One of them has a badge. But now we know. At least 2 of them had badges. And maybe more still do. Stay with us and subscribe to this channel. This case is no longer about who killed Deana Cremins. It's about who let her die. And who made sure we wouldn't ask why. Until now. Previously on this investigation, we uncovered evidence suggesting Deana Cremins wasn't the only victim. A trail cam reel surfaced, showing Deana confronted by a man moments before her murder. A second man appeared later, wearing a janitorial uniform from the Somerville School District. We tracked retired Detective Christopher D'Onofrio to Nova Scotia. There, we found a tackle box buried in the woods behind his cabin. Inside, a reel, a cryptic note, and a set of keys labeled MMS/6. Now we open Mount Misery Storage. Unit 6. A facility shuttered in 2001. No power. No cameras. Just rusted steel and cold silence. The property owner granted us 20 minutes. Bolt cutters removed the outer lock. The keys we found in Nova Scotia, they opened the internal deadbolt perfectly. And what we found could change everything. Inside Unit 6, one plastic bin, sealed, numbered, initialed, and marked with the name, Project Paladin. Inside the bin, a green file ledger, water-damaged but intact. Dozens of Polaroids, kids on playgrounds, hallways, cafeteria tables, printed emails, names redacted, a VHS labeled, March 28, '95, custodial intercept. Let's start with the file ledger. This wasn't just surveillance. This was a full-scale profiling operation. Names of students, behavior tags, notes like, observing subjects' contact with teachers. Others marked, potential external contact, classified. And on one page, the name, Deana Cremins. Note dated March 25, '95. Observed removing flyer from bulletin board in Hall B. Flyer no longer in evidence. Student marked for follow-up. Another, March 28, '95. Subject may have taken copy of janitorial schedule logbook. Risk level high. These were not school notes. They were surveillance assessments. And they weren't just on students. One entry marked, R. Shevlin. Approached by subject DC at off-campus location. Connection likely. Interview protocol denied due to escalation risk. Then, 2 words underlined. Suppress contact. This was not one girl's tragic death. It was containment. The VHS? We had it digitized. It shows a janitor's closet. March 28, 95. 10:14 p.m. A man, white, early 30s, enters frame. He removes a spiral notebook from his jacket. It matches the one recovered with Deana's belongings. He flips through the pages, then places it inside a hollow panel behind the mop sink. 2 minutes later, another man enters. Older, balding, uniform with Somerville PD insignia. He doesn't look at the camera. He retrieves the notebook, takes a Polaroid of the cavity, then rips a page from the notebook and burns it in a small aluminum tray. End of tape. We showed this footage to a retired Somerville officer who asked to remain anonymous. He watched in silence. Then he said, "That's not a janitor. That's D'Onofrio. And the other guy, that looks like Lieutenant Heron. He retired early. Went to Florida." Lieutenant Heron never gave a statement in the Deana Cremins case. But he was present on the scene. Photographed in early news images. Unnamed. Just another cop. Except now we know he wasn't just there. He was in it. We tried to contact Heron in Florida. His last known address? Burned down in 2019. No injuries reported. But the structure was declared unrecoverable. Cause? Faulty wiring. We're beginning to understand how deep this goes. But there was one more clue in the Mount Misery file. A folded receipt. From Emerald Copy and Print. Dated April 3, 1995. Itemized as 3 copies confidential report. 1 microfilm transfer. 1 sealed envelope. Courier hold. It was paid for in cash. The name on the receipt. R.A. Shevlin. Riley Shevlin. Meaning, 3 days after Deana Cremins was murdered, Riley printed and mailed a file. The envelope? Courier hold. Meaning it was never meant to be opened unless someone retrieved it. We tracked Emerald Copy and Print. Long defunct. But the courier service? Still in business. We gave them the file number. And they confirmed, yes, we still have the envelope. It's unopened. It's never been claimed. And it's in our off-site archive facility in Montreal. Montreal, where our last 2 anonymous emails originated. Someone has been waiting, watching, ensuring the file was never destroyed, but also never claimed by the wrong hands. And now we may finally be close. Soon in this part, we go to Montreal. We attempt to retrieve Riley Shevlin's sealed file. We also follow up on a major breakthrough. An anonymous voicemail left on a police tip line in 2011. Never released to the public. It was marked irrelevant, but it matches the voice from our 1996 cassette tape. And in it, the caller names someone we haven't considered. A teacher. From Deana's school. A man still working in the Massachusetts education system. The tip line transcript ends like this. She tried to tell someone. She gave it to him. Not the cops. Not her boyfriend. She gave it to her English teacher. He said he'd protect her. He didn't. We now believe that teacher still holds one of the last unexamined pieces of Deana Cremins' truth. And someone has spent nearly 30 years making sure it stays that way. This is no longer an unsolved crime. It's a sealed history, but it's unraveling. And whoever's been guarding this secret, they just lost the only thing that protected them. Time. Stay with us and subscribe to this channel, because the next name we uncover might finally bring it all into the light. Previously on this investigation, we uncovered a storage unit labeled Project Paladin, linked to surveillance logs from Deana Cremins High School. We found a receipt dated days after Deana's death, paid for by Riley Shevlin, confirming she printed and sealed a confidential file in April of 1995. That file was never picked up. It's been sitting untouched for nearly 30 years. in a secured archive in Montreal. Now we retrieve it. Montreal, Quebec. The courier service is discreet. No names on the walls. No online presence. Just a small, windowless door at the rear of a 4-story industrial building. We presented the invoice number. The clerk, a man in his 60s, looked us over silently. Then he said, "It's still sealed. Are you the authorized contact?" We told him the truth. "No, but she's missing. And if she's still alive, she wanted someone to find it." He stared for a long moment, then disappeared into the back. When he returned, he placed a rectangular envelope on the counter. Worn, yellowed with time. He slid it toward us and whispered, "You didn't get it from me." Stamped on the front. Confidential. To be opened only if no contact after 1 year. Date: April 3rd, 1995. Sender: R.A. Shevlin. Contents: microfilm enclosed. We broke the seal. Inside, a single 35mm microfilm roll, a folded letter, and a small envelope containing a second set of keys. The letter was typed, dated April 2nd, 1995. To whoever finds this, if I disappear, it's because I knew too much. I saw what they were doing. Deana did too. She was going to give it to Mr. Halberd. He was our English teacher. She trusted him. She thought he could protect her. But he didn't. I don't think he meant to hurt her. I think he panicked. They used him. I saw him arguing with someone in the alley the night before she died. I don't know if he killed her, but I know he knew what would happen. And he never told the truth. Mr. Halberd. Full name: Paul Halberd. Somerville High School English Department, 1990 to 1998. Transferred to a private academy in Vermont after professional disagreements. Currently teaching at Camden Hawthorne Preparatory School, just north of Montpelier. We reached out to the school. They confirmed, yes, Mr. Halberd still teaches there. Creative writing. Room 213. We went in person. On campus, he was friendly, polite, openly surprised to hear Deana Cremins' name. When we asked if he remembered her, he paused, then nodded. Bright, kind, always writing in that little notebook. We asked if she ever confided in him. He looked away, then said, "She gave me something, but I didn't keep it. I wish I had." When pressed, he said he passed it along to someone in administration. But records show no such documentation. So we asked him point blank, "Do you know what Project Paladin was?" He froze, not confused, startled. Then said, "I'm sorry, I can't discuss anything else. You need to leave." We left the school. But 36 hours later, we received an envelope, no return address. Inside, a single sheet of paper, handwritten, familiar print. I lied. I still have what she gave me. I kept it all these years. I didn't know what to do. But if you've come this far, maybe it's time. There's a safety deposit box. Chase Bank, Somerville. Box number 7287. The second key is in your hand. Use it. We opened the deposit box the following day. Inside, cassette tape, an original Polaroid photo, and a copy of Deana Cremins' handwritten letter. The letter: "If anything happens to me, it's because of what I found. I think they're watching me. I found a list. I think it's teachers. Or staff. People who work at the school but don't really work there. They meet at night. In the storage room near the boiler. The janitor knows. I think Mr. H knows too. I gave him a copy. If I don't show up tomorrow, please ask him what he did with it." DC. The Polaroid? Deana, standing in a dim hallway, pointing toward a locked door labeled "Faculty Access, Maintenance Only." We showed this photo to a current employee at Somerville High. She said that hallway no longer exists. The whole wing was demolished in 1998. And the reason? A gas line upgrade that coincided with Lieutenant Heron's early retirement. Coincidence? Or cover-up? The cassette tape? We had it digitized. The voice is female, shaking, but clear. It's Riley Shevlin. She says, "They said I'd be safe if I left. But I wasn't. They kept watching. I think one of them is still working in the system. I saw him. He was on the train platform. He recognized me. I ran. I haven't stopped running. If you're hearing this, please know, Deana didn't die because of some boyfriend. She died because she tried to protect me. And if anyone ever opens this, tell her family. She didn't die for nothing. That recording was dated 2004, meaning Riley Shevlin was alive 9 years after she vanished. But where is she now? We tracked the cassette tape case serial number. It was part of a batch sold in a general store in Kennebunkport, Maine. 2 weeks ago, we received a tip from a woman there. She said a quiet young woman used to visit the store every week. Paid in cash. Never shared her name. Then, in 2005, she stopped coming. The store clerk remembered her clearly. She kept a little notebook. Always wore a scarf, even in summer. Said she was from Massachusetts. When we showed her a digitally aged image of Riley Shevlin, she whispered, "That's her." We believe Riley Shevlin survived, and may still be alive today. In Part 4, we head back to Maine to search the Kennebunkport property records for any trace of Riley's location in 2005. We also reveal what was on the microfilm recovered in Montreal, because buried in those frames, among photocopied letters and print logs, is a page, typed, stamped, official, marked, Project Paladin, Phase 3 Protocol, and at the bottom, 3 lines, redacted, but partially visible. Line 1, if subject reports misconduct. Line 2, redirect to internal officer for processing. Line 3, under no circumstance will external law enforcement be notified without clearance from. Then it cuts off. This was never about one girl, one night, or one bad actor. It was a system, built in shadows, and guarded by silence. Until now, stay with us and subscribe to this channel.